In the ghost town of Hollow Ridge, a bitter wind howled through the skeletal remains of saloons and crumbling homesteads. Shadows stretched long and lean in the moonlight, their movements twitching like dying things. Cole Marlowe, a gunfighter of few words and fewer friends, leaned against the creaking sign of the abandoned sheriff's office. His revolver glinted, and his breath rose in silver puffs in the chill desert air. Tonight, he would face his greatest adversary, not a rival gunslinger or a posse, but death itself. Marlowe's reputation had drawn whispers and legends, stories of how he could draw faster than a lightning strike, and how he never missed his mark. But tonight, no amount of skill could prepare him for the figure he glimpsed in the distance, moving through the darkness like a shadow made flesh. Death wore a tattered duster, its hem brushing against the dust without a sound. The face beneath the wide-brimmed hat remained hidden in the shadow, but the cold gleam of eyes peered out from the shadows, ancient and knowing. Marlowe's fingers twitched near the grip of his revolver as the figure came to a halt at the center of town, where the wind carried a distant, mournful tune from the decaying church organ. "You know why I'm here?" the figure rasped, the voice like wind scraping over a headstone. Marlowe's mouth went dry. "Reckon I do, but I ain't going easy, you hear?" Death only nodded, the gesture slow and measured like a clock's pendulum. The church bell rang out, a hollow chime that echoed through the empty streets, marking midnight. Marlowe felt the weight of it deep in his bones, like the tolling of fate. He drew his pistol, and in that moment, time seemed to stretch, the world growing thin and distant. The two stared each other down, the silence so thick it swallowed the creak of old wood and the sigh of the wind. Marlowe's hand moved, fast as a rattlesnake's strike, and his gun barked like thunder. Their shots rang out as one, and the air crackled as the bullets collided mid-flight, bursting into a brief, blinding flash of light. For a heartbeat, everything was still, but when the light faded, Marlowe found himself alone in the street, the figure in the duster gone. His hand shook as he reached for his chest, finding no wound, yet feeling a terrible cold spreading through him. He looked down and saw frost spreading across the ground, following the line of his shadow. A soft, rattling breath drew his attention back to the spot where Death had stood. There, lying crumpled in the dust, was a body, a shrouded figure wrapped in a weathered cloth. Dread gnawed at Marlowe's mind as he knelt beside it, hands trembling as he pulled away the shroud. What he saw beneath the cloth turned his blood to ice. His own lifeless face stared back at him, eyes wide and glassy with the emptiness of the grave. Marlowe's breath hitched in his throat, his mind reeling as he stumbled back, but the dead eyes held his gaze with a grip that was unbreakable. No, it can't be," he whispered, voice cracking with terror, but even as he spoke, the frost spread up his legs, creeping toward his heart. The town fell into silence, and Marlowe realized with dawning horror that he could no longer feel his own heartbeat. The darkness thickened around him, swallowing the town whole, until only he and his own corpse remained, locked in that eternal stare. As the darkness consumed them, Marlowe's last thought echoed in the emptiness. Was this always my fate, or did I call it down upon myself? Morning came, but Hollow Ridge remained shrouded in a fog that lingered. Cole Marlowe's eyes squinted as he looked east to the sunrise, the light casting eerie shadows through the mist. Thunder rumbled from the west, and he turned, watching as lightning ripped through the sky, bright veins of fire in the darkness. He felt a chill pass through him, a reminder of the night before, but his hand steadied as he reached for the leather strap of his holster. Marlowe let out a sharp whistle, the sound cutting through the fog, and soon the familiar thud of hooves echoed through the silence. His horse appeared from the mist, its breath steaming in the cool dawn air. Marlowe swung into the saddle, his jaw set, eyes hard as iron. "I think I know where that bastard Death is," he muttered to himself, the echo of his own voice swallowed by the mist. A thin, grim smile twisted his lips as he urged his horse forward, the wind picking up as if pushing him toward his fate. And he's not escaping this time. With a final glance back at the ghost town he was leaving behind, Marlowe rode west, where the thunder rolled and shadows whispered his name.